It still says off.
All right, we're live.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining in on our panelists. Thank you for being so patient. So tonight we have the program zone. I'll let everyone introduce themselves.
I'll start off. Hello, everyone. My name is Malik Hughes, Region 4 Engineering Diversity Chairperson.
So tonight we
Who's going next?
You could have went, but hi, I'm Chris Erica, our pre-collegiate initiatives chairperson.
What's popping, y'all? I'm Tyrone Jacob Jr., Region 4 Program Chairperson.
and so I'll let and so how these panels will work out. Everyone will have a series of questions, and they will be answered accordingly. And so, if anyone has any questions for the panelists, please leave them in the comment section below on the YouTube channel, and they will be answered at the end of the panel. Give me 1 second. Please leave them in the comment section below on the YouTube channel, and they will be answered at the end of the panel. And so we will begin. So we have Stephen Ebica joined the call, so I'll let him introduce himself.
I don't even know if I'm talking right now. It's like real slow.
So we will begin. We can hear you. So we have Stephen Ebica. So I'll let him introduce himself.
What's up, everybody? I don't even know if I'm talking right now. It's like real slow.
So we can hear you. So we have Stephen Ebica.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Ebuka Egwon. You're Region 4 Academic Excellence Chair.
And so, like I said, if anyone had any questions for the panelists, it will be answered at the end after we ask a series of questions to the panelists. And so, go ahead and leave your questions now, and we will get started with the panel. And so, our first question is, why did you choose to run for or apply to this position? And so, we will start with Chris Erica.
Okay, I chose to run for and apply. No, apply. I chose to apply for this position because I was very active in volunteering at the Michigan Science Center. And through that involvement, I really learned about like what sparks kids' interest, what part of engineering they get excited about. And I just really like working with them hands-on and getting them like really interested in science, math, and just STEM in general. So I knew my love for kids, and I also did the Seek program, which also helped me to like kind of work with kids and see how I could spark their interest. So through both of those engagements, I knew that I had a love for our pre-collegiate initiatives. So I decided to take a bigger step in bridging the gap between collegiate and pre-collegiate students.
I'm getting word that no one can see the panel. Are we live?
Yeah, we should be live. I got confirmation that other people are on the right link, so I'm not sure. Try to make sure they're on the program zone.
Yes, it's live in the corner.
Is anybody else on the YouTube link? Okay, I think we're good. Sorry for that, everyone.
I guess I could continue since I was just kind of talking. So I choose to apply for the engineering diversity chairperson position because I came from a career services background on my campus, and really the whole role of engineering diversity is to explore like different pathways for engineers. So kind of helping realize those skills that engineers kind of possess in their technical schoolwork, but applying them to a variety of different fields. So whether that be entrepreneurship, whether that be political education, whatever you name it. So really the role of engineering diversity is trying to put on technical competitions at the FRC. And so I kind of thought that my experiences and skill sets from my career service background kind of fell in line with that. So.
All right, I guess I'll go. So the reason why I ran for my position is kind of two things. Number one, I would probably say I was academic excellence chair last year, and I had a chance to watch last year's program chair. Her name is Simone May, and I was watching her closely pretty much the whole year, and kind of more intensely, as we got close to the convention. And I really like the idea of looking at our programming that we have for the region, kind of like dissecting it, picking it apart, and kind of seeing how we can improve our programs. If not improve them, invent new ones and create new programming for our membership, so we can have the best possible programs for them to be a part of and to compete in and things like that. So we want to make sure that our programs are beneficial, that they're actually leaving an impact on our members, things like that. So I really like that aspect of it, and so I just decided to go ahead and apply.
For me, it was a little bit different. I'll go ahead if that's cool, George. Yeah, so for me, it was a little bit different. Of course, I was able to serve as a chapter leader, which was pretty cool. But I was actually tapped on the shoulder by someone else at our chapter, Marcus Lloyd, who was serving as the Region 4 vice chair at the time. And he just kind of told me, like, hey, I see the qualities in you. Why don't you try it out? And from there, I was just like, okay, I mean, sure, I can do it. I always hear about the time constraints and trying to balance everything. And I mean, it was rough at first, but just knowing someone supported me definitely helped me feel like I can do it and that I can succeed at it. So getting that opportunity and that support just to be able to try something new was definitely cool. But for me personally, as AEX chair, you feel as though you got to have that 3.5 and be academically excellent. But for me, it's not necessarily that. I'm more pursuing excellence, which is crazy. But of course, that's just how it is. I at least have that drive and that passion to pursue academic excellence, because academic excellence can mean a lot to different people. So for me to just be here right now and making sure people are understanding the types of programming that we have and trying to get the information out there to help people and their chapters really pursue academic excellence is really the passion that drives me to try and fulfill this position to the fullest.
So we have Nia, our torch chair, who just joined the call. And so if you can answer the first question, which is, why did you choose to run for or apply to your position?
Okay, hi, my name is Nia Hightower. I'm the Region 4 torch chair. Sorry, I've been a little under the weather, so sorry about my voice. But I joined NSBE as a freshman, and I was involved on the freshman council. I was the vice president of the NSBE freshman council at Purdue. And then my following year as a sophomore, I ran and I was elected parliamentarian. And I just always had this passion for this NSBE and the mission statement and kind of getting involved in just outreach and seeing how we could make an impact on, younger students to adult professionals with, getting involved in our organization. I chose to run for this specific position just because of my commitment to community service and outreach. I noticed that there was kind of a lack of community service, like a lack of emphasis on community service at my own chapter level, and I wanted to see how I could, make an impact on the region, and then, collaborate on different outreach events.
Great, thank you for that answer, Nia. And so our next question is, what other organizations are you a part of? And how have you been able to balance NSBE's responsibilities with the responsibilities of those other organizations? And so I'll let the panelists answer the question in any order.
All right, I'll go ahead and answer first. Organization I'm a part of right now, nothing but NSBE. That's just real cap. It's just because I've been a part of a lot of different organizations, like, in previous semesters and stuff, and I just kind of decided just to really devote, all of my attention toward NSBE, and like not have my attention go elsewhere in other places, I guess. So for me, I'm just doing NSBE. That's it.
I guess I'll go next. For me, I'm also a part of the Chemical Engineering Student Advisory Council here on my campus, which is basically a small group that kind of bridges the gap between faculty and students by hosting small events or selling apparel. And that's one of those groups where it's not a lot of time commitment. We maybe meet once or twice every 2 weeks and something like that. And then we host events maybe like 3 a month. So just balancing everything with that, especially with how regional business is usually conducted virtually. So me being on calls versus actually participating in an event doesn't really strain me too much, especially since our calls will most likely be in the evening, and then my events are typically during the day. So that hasn't been a big issue. Another thing I do is I work as a mentor or tutor for third grade students over the weekends. And once again, that's just one of those things where it's every other Saturday. It's not a big time commitment, and really NSBE stuff is done in such a way that you can't have it be done within a certain time slot. But I guess for me, I try to make times within my week or within the day just to devote it to NSBE business, and then go throughout my day doing other things. So I can say balancing things is rough, but if you figure it out, it just depends on what type of person you are. So
I go next. So I'm a part of a good amount of orgs outside of NSBE. I'm a part of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, founder and president of my dance team on campus, and I'm also a overseer of mentors for our CETO program here in Michigan. And it's definitely been a challenge for me to balance the responsibilities of all the orgs, but it hasn't been impossible. And I feel like sometimes a challenge is a good thing because it helps you experience the challenges that you'll be taking on in the real world. So I don't regret any of it. However, I will say that it has been easier for me the more that I communicate with my zone and with the board. I don't feel like everything is put on me to do. Everybody usually doesn't have a problem with helping out or assisting in areas that they feel like they might be able to best assist with. And we can also make committees that can help us with our organizational duties and our responsibilities for like conferences or conventions. So I've utilized that as well to help me balance some of my responsibilities within my position.
I guess I'll go. I'm pretty involved in other organizations as well. I'm a part of a group called Black Male Initiative. We're really just involved in like uplifting Black men in the community and doing a lot of like community service-based work. I'm also a part in a year-round internship at Ideal Industries, and where we kind of in a research and development role, and outside of my responsibilities on the regional board, I also serve as chapter president on my campus. So I'm pretty involved, and it's been a struggle, honestly, kind of balance everything. But I've been really good at time management most of the time. So, you know, I just be real methodical about how I do work. And if I'm doing NSBE work, I've spent a lot of time on NSBE and just trying to knock out things. And I try to wait till last minute to get it done. So it's more so just about how you manage your time. And I think it's still very doable, being a part of NSBE and being a part of other organizations as well.
Okay, I can go. My NSBE term has kind of been split up into two. So first semester, I was involved in a program called Strong Sister, Silly Sister, where I was a facilitator for younger girls, freshmen, sophomore, targeting them as they transitioned to campus and to just college life in general. In addition to that, I was doing undergraduate research in the materials engineering department. And that's something I would pretty much do every day for a few hours. And then I was also in the Engineering World Health Club, which was like bi-weekly meetings. And then now I'm actually on co-op with Johnson & Johnson. So I'm not in school, so I'm not really involved in those organizations right now. But so my time is kind of shifted where, I'm not taking any classes right now. So, but my day is all work, and then I come back here, and then I can, put my focus into other things like NSBE. So.
Thank you all for your answers. And so we'll move on to our next question, which is, how has being a NSBE leader impacted other areas of your life?
I'll go ahead and answer. Being a NSBE leader, it teaches you a lot about, time management, prioritizing, teamwork, working with people with, different personalities and work ethics. And it's kind of like, corporate America, like a job, right? You get to work with people who come from different backgrounds, different walks of life, things like that. And it just gets you acclimated, just working with people who may not think the same way that you do, or people who may, view things different, than you may view them. And that helps a lot, doing NSBE business and taking care of things within NSBE and for the region. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just like a job, really. As you work, corporate America is the same thing. The way I like to see it.
All right, I'll go ahead and go next. NSBE, I mean, as cliche as it is, it's my family, of course. I mean, it's built me up into this leader I am today, and I'm thankful for it. But there are other tangibles that I see that come from NSBE, just in terms of like professionalism, knowing how to dress, knowing how to walk up to a recruiter and actually be somebody they can consider hiring, or not wearing white Nike socks to career fairs and things like that. I mean, it's been the simple things and the little things, but NSBE has really helped me grow into the man that I am right now. And so I'm thankful just for how it can be just so many people in one organization really helping me become a better person. And therefore, I'm able to then give to the others who are in the organization below me or coming after me. And so it's just been a real great networking experience and a great family that I've had here at my institution. And I mean, I just hope to continue going with that. I mean, just the other day, I actually received a scholarship from NSBE. So I mean, it's just been the little things that I'm so thankful for with NSBE. And I mean, I can't do it without them. So I love NSBE.
I'll go. I think being a NSBE leader has helped me understand how important it is to work with a team, kind of touching on what Tyrone said. the regional executive board is literally like a 20+ person team, and we all have to work with each other to put on the conferences for the region. And I've been able to take that experiences and take kind of my working relationships with everyone on the board and take that to other outside areas, like involved in my internship, involved in the other organizations I've been involved in, and kind of showing them a different perspective of how, if you guys really work as a team, we can make something really valuable for the membership that we serve. So also just kind of understanding that being a leader, you're a servant leader. So everything that you're doing, you have to provide value for your membership. So you kind of come into that realization.
All of these points so valid. You know, I can relate to all the points that my other zone members have spoken on. Just to touch on that, I would definitely say just the importance of feedback. Being in the program zone, we implement a lot of programs, a lot of events, a lot of outlets where we are interacting with people, different ages, different, parts of the Midwest, if we're talking just about Region 4. And getting feedback is so important because we can see how we can grow and how we can improve. And I think that's that's a key area where other organizations or other groups may fail, is they overlook the importance of getting that knowledge about how you can improve and how you can get better. And that's just something that we really focus on in NESB, and that is something I've learned and applied to just even my academics in my school, going to my professors, how can I do better? How can I improve? Yeah, I might have gotten the score that, I passed the exam, but how can I, go above and beyond? How can I, exceed what I've done? So that's just one key thing that I wanted to touch on to answer about the importance of NESB.
Okay, so I guess being a NESB leader has helped me determine my purpose in life and what I'm doing it for, and who I'm doing it for. And a big reason for that has been youth and the people that come after me, to show them, to be a role model and to show them that every path may not be the same, but that you can make it. Like, we can all do it. We can all achieve what we want to achieve. We can all be engineers. It's not too hard for us. It's not impossible. It's more than doable. So just being that representation, it has also helped me take on even more challenges in other areas of my life that allow me to be more well-rounded and just diverse when it comes to the professional world, because I know that sometimes being an engineer, you could just be stuck in that one field, but NESB is just, everybody in NESB that I've met is just so well-rounded and different that it challenges me to go outside of the engineering box and try to do that as well. And it has also helped me brand myself as a person so that I am able to network and reach out and meet new people, and they remember me for who I am, and not just like, oh, she's a part of NESB, but no, oh, she's Chris Erica and she does this and she likes to do this, and that's it.
Thank you all for your answers. And so our next question is, how does your position help members excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community?
I guess I can start first. Shoot. My position is definitely I guess I would say the pillar of NESB, honestly. That's my biased opinion, obviously, but when we excel academically, there's nothing we can't do as an organization. So, I mean, of course, like I said before, just trying to pursue excellence and everything like that through different programs and events. AEX definitely has to hold it down, because with programs like the retention program, where we have to have our skill development workshops for the underclassmen, getting them to that professional level, then you have to have your academic mentorship, where you find people within your institution who can definitely be there for you socially, emotionally, or even just academically. And of course, you got to have your study halls, study tables, study sessions, you know, just hitting the books with people that you basically call your brothers and sisters on campus. And so having those three pillars definitely makes NSBE that organization that needs to excel academically in order to get far in life. And that's my biased opinion, but of course, you know, probably gonna hear some different things from everybody else.
So I think for me, it just relates back to what I said earlier in terms of, you know, being program chair, you have to take a look holistically at our current programming that we have for the region and the membership, and seeing what changes need to be made or what adjustments need to be made to those current programs, or seeing if we need to add something new or create something new. And most of the time, you know, you may just want to tweak something here, tweak something there. And so I think by putting your focus, you know, on that, you basically attack all of those components of the mission statement at once. And yeah, I mean, that's just the way that I've been thinking about it. So,
for me, being engineering diversity chair really involved with that professional development, succeeding professionally, I guess. Whereas you're really trying to think about how programs that enhance technical skills or professional skills for various careers after you graduate. So again, whether you want to go into education or whether you want to go into politics, whether you want to start your own business, it's kind of thinking of different competitions or programming workshops that enhance the membership skills in those areas.
So Torch, you know, technical outreach and community help, that is, you know, so makes up so much of our mission statement. I believe that trying to increase the number starts with looking at programs that we can implement for the youth, programs that we can implement for high schoolers, programs we can implement for collegiate students, just so we can understand that, you know, it's more than just, you know, books and numbers. You know, that's you know, a great foundation for NSBE and why we want to excel. But looking beyond just, you know, us as individuals and kind of putting emphasis on the idea of community, on the putting emphasis on the idea of using each other, resources, and networking is really how we kind of positively impact that community and do everything that we do in Torch when it comes to our outreach events and just service in general.
Speaking of the youth, I feel that, you know, our pre-collegiate initiatives definitely help with, or my position definitely helps with allowing our youth to excel academically. I know a lot of youth struggle with already being defeated before even trying, just based off of what society may tell them, different stereotypes that they may hear. However, like bridging the gap between collegiate and pre-collegiate students allows them to see the future, see what they want to be, and feel as if they can do it. And it also allows them to be paired with a mentor if they would like to be, that allows them, that kind of helps them along the way. And positively impacting the community is another thing that PTI works on. We're constantly reaching out to our communities, constantly working with our Torch chair to plan community service events. And our youth is, like, for me, a very key part of NSBE because it's our future, and without our youth, we can't grow, we can't excel. So.
Thank you all for your answers. And our last question for the panelists that I have is, what advice would you give to someone who's considering running for your position?
All right, I'll go ahead. I'll probably first say definitely study the role. You know, there's definitely resources online that you can look up about the role that you're interested in. I would probably say also talk to the current position holder. You know, if you see them at conference, you know, pull them aside, you know, talk with them for a couple minutes, DM them on GroupMe, you know, text them, call them, whatever you have to do. And then I think last, I would probably say make sure it's truly like in your heart, because these roles are not something that we're forced to do. We're doing this because we want to, and that we have like the love and the passion for it. And if you're doing it for fabricated reasons, that'll show really quickly and really fast. And so you want to make sure that it's something that you truly do care about. And you guys have to have the mindset that, you know, it's not about you or the position name that you have, or you're trying to get, you know, whatever kind of popularity or whatever from this. It's not about those things. It's really about serving the members and make sure that you know, the members are always happy and satisfied. And you know, to keep that mindset, you'll do a great job.
I'll go ahead and go next. If you're trying to apply to be the academic excellence chair, the first thing I'd have to say is do not be discouraged if you are not Apex. There's a certain thing that comes with being honest, because I know for me, when I first applied for this position, I did not have a 3.0. And so just being honest with our chairperson and being honest with everyone else that was on the call and letting them know that I'm still trying to pursue excellence, I can now say that I am an Apex member, and that it does feel rewarding, you know, to be in this position and now actually live it out and claim that I'm excelling academically. So to the next AEX chair, I just say, come into this position wanting to pursue excellence, academic excellence. That's where your mindset should be. In terms of just generally joining the REB, I would have to say know which zone you want to be a part of, because like Tyrone said, if you don't have passion for what you're doing, you're wasting your time. Just know where you want to be. And that obviously involves you calling all the people within the different zones, or even just trying to understand what each zone is doing within NSBE, and just making sure you feel you would have the passion to keep going, because it's a whole year thing. After FRC, we understand it gets a little light, but this is a whole year thing. So definitely just find that passion within the zone.
Kind of echoing what's already been said. Just a general advice, if you're going to apply for any position on the REB, is just be ready to be challenged. These roles, like they said, they're not easy or by any means, but it's kind of that opportunity to challenge yourself and to grow. The advice I would give to anybody considering running for engineering diversity chair is to have the mindset that you really are trying to serve the membership in a sense of how do you help them grow professionally. So also just be like really good at, I would say, be detailed with your planning, because you are coordinating competitions at FRC, and there's responsibilities with that. So make sure you're good at time management, make sure you're good at like planning things out. And again, also just make sure you're like kind of have that mindset of how do you want to help the membership develop professionally.
I know that I was definitely a little bit nervous when I first applied for the position of Torch, and just being on the REB in general. I just knew that it would hold a lot of responsibility. And, you know, I had been going to NSBE conferences for 2 years prior, so I knew that it would just carry a lot of weight as an individual. But I, you know, coming into it and then going to, NLC and then getting to know my board, getting to know my zone, I realized how much I could rely on my other zone members, my zone lead, to kind of guide me in the right direction when I didn't know what to do, when I wasn't really necessarily sure how to implement a program or how to, even answer a question that, a chapter officer might have. And just putting that emphasis on community and family, just keep that in mind. You're not, doing this alone. You're not, putting together a whole event or a whole conference alone. You have these people, that we have on this call, that we have on our entire regional board, guiding you and rooting for you to succeed and to succeed all of the goals that we've outlined for this term. Just specifically, if you're trying to apply for Torch Chair, I think definitely having that passion for community service, passion for outreach. I know coming into this position, I had like a ton of ideas. So, creativity is definitely a plus. If you know what you want to do, you have a target audience, you kind of have some resources. Coming into this, I thought about, different community service outlets I had before joining here, and thinking about how I could tie those all in, and then be successful in this position was something I did.
I definitely agree with everything that everyone else has said, so I don't want to be repetitive, but specifically to PCI chair, I think that really getting out, visiting some NSBE junior chapters or just visiting schools would really help with, I guess, gauging what the problem is in the communities and where our NSBE junior students might need help. And also seeing what areas actually need NSBE junior chapters, what areas don't know about NSBE and don't have that influence in their communities. Doing that kind of allows you to get closer with that community, so that when you're serving this position, it kind of feels natural to you, and it doesn't feel, you're not nervous or overwhelmed. You kind of just feel like it's something that you've been doing. Definitely volunteer. Definitely talk to the person that holds the position already. And if you know other people that have held it in the past, talk to them too. Talk to the person that holds it on the national level. Just really get acquainted with people that serve in that area. And I feel like you'll do great.
Thank you all for your answers. And if you're late joining the call, just so you know, if you have any questions for the panelists, please leave them in the comments section below on the YouTube link, and we will be answering the questions now in chronological order. And so our first audience question is, how was the learning curve once you joined the REB?
Good question. I would probably say it's a little bit steep at first, I guess, like your first go around, to be honest, because you are going to be, having to join a lot of different like conference calls and learning how to, maybe make agendas and send agendas out and respond to a bunch of emails. And, you're going to have to do certain things that you've probably never done before. You have to be accounted for like, something that we call an action item, which is basically, a task that you have to complete by a certain deadline at a certain time. There's all kinds of things. So I would definitely say it's a little steep at first, if it's your first time joining, if you haven't seen something like this before. But once you get into it and you get acclimated to everything in the role and what you're doing, it'll make the second time or even the third or however many times you do it after that that much more easier.
I'll go. This was my first time being on the REB, so it was definitely a big learning curve for me. I didn't really know much about the engineering diversity position when I had applied for. I had kind of had an idea of it. I had definitely reached out to the person who was in the position before me, but still I had no real idea of how I was actually going to do the work. But I think what helped me out was just coming in with a lot of questions. I wasn't afraid to ask questions. And then I really leaned on people who were on the board for previous years. I mean, you have those resources right there, and the advisors are really good as well. So my best advice would just be to ask a lot of questions to kind of help ease that learning curve. You'll have a lot of different training sessions throughout the summer and opportunities to kind of help you out in that regards. And then also just always keep in contact with the person who was in your position the previous year, so you can kind of get an idea of exactly what they were thinking of when you're putting on the programs for your term.
I'll go ahead and go next. I definitely agree with Malik because I'm in the same situation. This is my first time joining the board, and it was a little overwhelming, just kind of thinking, okay, I'm not going to be that person who sits up at the front, stares at everybody, kind of really disconnected from everybody else. But I mean, behind the scenes, it can be pretty rough. And so I would say definitely leaning on the advisors a lot because they've seen boards come and go. They've seen the bad things that have happened. They let you know straight up, this is what you should be doing, or this is what could go wrong. And those things have definitely helped me definitely have a successful year. And so reading up on documents like transition reports that are given to us are very helpful because it gave me a breakdown of what I should be doing every month. You know, in the summer, here's what I should be doing. Here's what I should be doing. In the fall, once we start the semester, here's where I could be at. Before FRC, this is what I need to have done. Those types of things really helped me out personally, especially when you're trying to plan a program at a conference where you're never going to be at the site to really practice the event until you get there. And so just having these documents and really having the support of my program zone was very helpful for me just to really get accustomed to this learning curve.
I'll go. Yeah, I definitely second just the support of the advisors. This was my first time on their RAB as well. And you know, first meeting Yanika and Stacey Ann, you know, they just had so much energy and they definitely, you know, warned us that they could be very critical, but, you know, it was all for the best. You know, it was all going to help us succeed as, you know, NSBE leaders and just leaders in general. And so just knowing that all of the feedback and all of the critiques that you receive were going to help you grow as a leader and ultimately help your overall impact of the region, and just keeping that in mind was definitely something that kind of helped me through just the hard times. You know, the conference calls, you know, just the frequency of meetings and whatnot was definitely something that I had to get adjusted to. But, you know, that just comes with just life. You know, that's, you're going to be tasked with having to you know, remember a lot of things, meet deadlines. So that just overall was just preparation for what's to come ahead, you know, in school, once you get out of school, all of that. So definitely just grateful for all of the rigor and all of the critiques and just my zone in general.
So the learning curve was great. This was my second time serving on the board. So the person that served in the position last year, I had contact with, and, you know, I was like really familiar with him and had worked with him before, as well as, you know, Tyrone. So me getting acquainted with the position was very, I won't say easy, but I didn't feel like it wasn't hard to me because I had done a REB position before. So I was, you know, not afraid to seek Tyrone for help. My advisor, Yanika, this was my second time interacting with her. So she was able to help me just as she always has. And with her being a teacher in the school systems, it was really easy to get information for how like I should be interacting with the advisors or with our NSBE junior students, because that's something that she does on an everyday basis. So that definitely helped me learn how to interact with people well. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I really appreciated that. And then other advisors too have their own NSBE junior chapters, so they knew like what activities the kids liked, or what grade level, what activities should go with what age group of kids. And they have been, you know, involved in NSBE for who knows how long, so they were able to give so much feedback. I apologize. That's it.
Thank you all for your answers. And so our next question is, how has your experiences on the REB helped you in your academic and professional areas as engineers?
Well, George, what was that question?
I'm sorry, I just read that completely wrong. How has your experiences on the REB helped you in your academic and professional careers as engineers?
That's a good question. I mean, like I said before, really, it is kind of echoing what I already said. Like, you know, being on the REB, you know, you learn so many different things about yourself, things that you can handle, things that you can, I guess, per se, not handle as well. And so when you have all of these different varying experiences, you know, throughout the summer and helping create ROC and then going into FRC and then, you know, helping out with National Convention. I mean, you learn so many different things. I think personally, like, you know, it just helps you prioritize, you know, time manage well, figure out what's important, what's not important, just all those kinds of things like that. And you can translate that stuff to your classes and coursework and your other organizations, and if you have leadership positions within those as well.
And so the question was, how has your experiences on the REB helped you in your academic and professional careers as engineers?
I can go ahead and answer it too. Or Malik, you can go.
Now go ahead.
All right. So for me personally, academically, I would say being as an AEX chair, I definitely started participating in study sessions more often, especially trying to support my chapter AEX chair here at Purdue. And so going over there, getting my stuff done has definitely been helpful, which is not to say I didn't do it before, but I kind of made it more of a conscious effort to definitely participate in those. But on the other side, professionally, during FRC, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, during FRC, I had a company representative basically sponsor the event. She came and hosted it, didn't say more than 5 words, but after that, I went to their hospitality suite, and after FRC, she hits me up and is like, yo, you want to interview for this position? And I ended up getting the offer for the position. I'm just saying, it's pretty clutch. NSBE definitely hooks you up. So I'm just saying, when you're in positions like this and people see you stepping up into leadership and see you really exemplifying what they would want in a potential candidate, it definitely helps you out in the long run.
I could go. How did the REB? Yeah, okay, I remember the question. Academically, I would say, I mean, it hasn't really been an impact because I feel like academically I've always been pretty good, but definitely on the professional side, I mean, it just opens up so many opportunities. I'm always constantly getting emails or something like that from corporate recruiters or something like that about job opportunities. So just kind of being that midway guy between the region, like corporate, and the membership, you know, you kind of get a lot of jobs passed your way just in that sense. So I would say it just really opens up a lot of job opportunities because recruiters see and understand the value of NSBE leadership. So.
Yeah, so being on the REB is definitely, oh, sorry. Hold on. As no, okay. I'm just getting a lot of like my internet messed up. Okay. So being okay, yeah, being on the REB has definitely helped me academically, just kind of just staying organized. I know that I sometimes feel like I have just a lot of time on my hands in college, and I feel like it has helped me kind of manage all of the things that I have to do on my to-do list, all of the things that events and, you know, traveling, and it just kind of helps me put my schedule more in perspective. So that's just definitely helped me academically. Professionally, like the list can go on and on about like how being on the RB has just helped me with networking, how it's helped me just honestly overall with confidence. I feel like I had only a few experiences with public speaking and having to, you know, lead a project or, you know, present something. And so having to do that, you know, so frequently being on the REB, that just kind of gave me that experience and honestly pushed me out of my comfort zone. In, you know, more ways than I can name, to kind of help me grow as an individual and as a leader.
So academically, I definitely think about those kids all the time, you know, that I'm doing it for them and that I need to have a good GPA for them. I need to graduate for them. You know, I just think about that all the time. And that's how this position has helped me academically. I'm still trying. Unfortunately, like Malik, it ain't always been there for me, but I'm going to make it. And as far as professionally, FRC for me, I ran a whole conference, so like I didn't get to talk to any type of recruiters or anything at the conference. So I definitely wish I would have like utilized, I don't know, some more free time. I don't really have any free time, but I wish I would have utilized some time to like talk to them. However, I will say that it has definitely helped me. I know from last year at nationals, like I made a lot of connections and I networked a lot with people who were leading different workshops. And that really helped me because I was able to like email them after the conference and like schedule times to like meet with them over the phone or meet with them in person if they were in the area to talk about just internships and other opportunities that they have while I'm in college, or bring them up to the University of Michigan to talk more about their company. And I feel like I wouldn't have had that experience if I wasn't with NSBE on the REB.
Thank you all for your answers. And so our next audience question, it's a two-part question, and part of this question has already been answered, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. And so, what advice do you have for someone that is nervous in applying to join the REB? And then the second part of this question is, if we are on the chapter executive board, what is the transition like going from chapter leadership to regional leadership?
I mean, I would say if you're nervous, I mean, put yourself in the fire. That's how you grow. That's how you get better. And just talk to the person, you know, who already has your position. Pull them to the side, you know, text them, call them if you have their number. And just make sure you stay on them and just study them and study the role. And the only way you can really get over that nervousness is just by doing it. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would say. And then the other question was, how do you transition from like chapter leadership to the REB? It definitely can definitely look the same. I mean, that's how the society is supposed to look holistically, from top to bottom, from national to chapter executive boards. It's really supposed to look the same. But I would definitely say you just have a little bit, you know, you have more responsibility. You're more visible. You have the responsibility of, you know, hundreds of members instead of maybe like, 15, 20, 25, 30, or maybe even 50, however big your chapter is. So it's really just, I would say definitely it looks the same, but you're just more visible. More people will find out who you are, and you have to take care of more than just, a small group of students.
I'll go. For me, I'll say if you're nervous, try to get over it, because there's really nothing to be nervous about. We're a family here. You're going to be welcomed to the REB as a family. And so there's really not anything to be nervous about. I would say, if anything, try to turn that nervousness into like a passion for learning, because there is going to be a learning curve. And if you just come eager for your position, you won't feel as nervous for the role. I do have a bit of a different perspective coming from a chapter board to a regional board. I think actually chapter leaders have it a bit harder than regional leaders, just in the sense that regional leaders, like, we have a lot of resources and we have a lot of teamwork. So I feel like a lot of chapters, especially if you're on a smaller chapter, you may not have a lot of resources to do the business or the everyday things that you need to do to run efficiently. So I would say, honestly, that it's not as bad as you may think it is, especially if you're just, depending on what role you are on the RAB, you might just be doing one little part, a part of the bigger FRC. So your role may not be as like difficult as you may think it is.
I think that the level of difficulty depends on like what position you hold. But I would definitely say that, I don't know, like, I served in both a chapter position and on the REB, but they were two different. I don't know. I think that, yeah, it depends on what position you're holding. I think that they are somewhat equal in weight, but with the REB, helping out other people or, spreading yourself into other areas is what might make it a little bit more challenging, because you're making yourself available to help other people. And that's my take on that. But as far as being nervous, like, same thing that everybody else has been saying. It's really nothing to be nervous about. Like, you're going to get to know the people that you're serving on the board with, and you're just all going to like each other eventually. It might start off a little rough, but I guarantee you that y'all all get to a place where y'all just love each other.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I was pretty nervous when I was going to apply. Thankfully, I had the support of a lot of other Purdue, because I go to Purdue, a lot of other Purdue NESU members who had held positions on the REB before and whatnot. So they were like encouraging me, do it. I'm like, okay, just click my little submit. So like I did that. And I mean, I've honestly loved working with like everybody in Program Zone, everybody on the REB, everybody's, really nice. The transition is just, it's really simple. And, if you're coming into it, passionate about what you're doing and confident that, your ideas, your leadership methods, what you can bring to the e-board, if you're confident that that will, carry the region and bring the region where it needs to be, then, there's no need to be nervous. Coming from, the chapter level, it's definitely different, but, there's a lot of similarities. You kind of make it your own, whether you're staying in the same zone or you're kind of changing, your zone and trying to find something different. It's, you're gonna find that, your strengths, your weaknesses, just, focus on relying on, your other e-board members and your other zone members to kind of accomplish your goals.
George, you want to just keep moving since we like killed this question, or I don't know, or does the Does the person feel like we've answered their question? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can move on. So we have 2 more questions left. I know we're running a little bit over time. If you have any last minute questions, quickly throw them in audience questions. But we'll be wrapping this up shortly. And so the next question is, to date, what is your biggest personal achievement in your role in the RV?
I would like to go first. My biggest personal achievement was planning a conference for our NSBE junior students, because that was something that was very, very challenging. However, it fell through. Also, a part of that conference, bridging the gap between collegiate and pre-collegiate students. Last year, we asked students like, what collegiate chapter have you been involved with? And they're like, collegiate chapter. We don't talk to any colleges in our area. And, that kind of like really took a toll on me. So actually hearing from the PCI students who like still talk to me today, still reach out to me, like we loved conference and it was one of the best conferences we've ever been to, reaching out to the advisors, knowing that they are happy that their students enjoyed it and look forward to many other NSBE conferences. Hearing that they actually like enjoyed it, not because it was fun, but because they gained more insight about STEM and engineering, and now they feel more interested and more confident about pursuing an engineering field, just really makes me happy. So I feel like that's definitely my biggest personal achievement on the REB.
I'll probably say for me, honestly, just having a really successful, programming and competitions at this year's regional conference. Definitely was a big deal. And working with the squad, man, trying to get those things done. It was definitely challenging. They all know that. I definitely tried to do my best to stay on and make sure they had everything they needed, and that they had everything taken care of to execute those things that we needed to execute at the conference. But yeah, I would say for me, definitely just having some good, stuff for the members to do and people to take a part of, and just having that impact at the conference. Definitely probably my biggest thing.
I think one of my biggest accomplishments was at FRC for Torch, the FRC Torch event. I planned that we would pack hygiene kits for the homeless of Milwaukee. And we ended up packing like over 200 bags. And it was all from the help of like NSBE junior students. So like, I kind of got to feel what Chris Erica feels, when you have just the energy and just the love and the support, and then just the enthusiasm that you get from just the NSBE junior kids. And so they all kind of helped pack the bags, and they were kind of dancing around and, asking questions, or where does this go? Where does that go? And it was just really cool just seeing like, young NSBE and, kind of thinking about, okay, where are they going to be, when they get to high school, when they get to college, beyond that, and just kind of, accomplishing, what we came to do and then more at FRC with regards to Torch, and then getting to donate those bags, over 200 bags to the Milwaukee rescue mission. That was just a great feeling and just a great way to just kind of give back, and then kind of encourage, the younger NSBE junior students to kind of, get involved early.
I'll go. One of my biggest accomplishments was also at FRC, just being able to have representatives from different companies sponsor the competitions, and to also be able to have contestants compete for prizes, cash prizes. So definitely, I would recommend that be a continuing goal for the Engineering Diversity Chair, is to continuously find like different corporate sponsors, whether that be investors, entrepreneurs, to host as judges for the competitions, and then also to maybe increase the cash pool for next year, so that contestants may be able to use some of that cash to fund their businesses or their ideas.
I'll definitely just follow along with the theme because we made goals at the beginning of the semester or at the beginning of the term, and you know, still trying to get at those. But for FRC, man, shout out to the program zone because we really did it. We really executed, and so I'm personally thankful for just being able to successfully host ATB, TRE, and really get those things done. Because I mean, my zone lead is the past AEX chair, and so having him and his just insight on everything was definitely helpful. Because I know every time he's like, "All right, you have all your judges for this, or do you have this?" And it's just like, "Oh, dang, yeah, he's right." So just being able to successfully execute those, and even getting the buzzers for ATB, that was definitely a good thing. So just being able to facilitate something that would be easier for the next AEX chair and things like that was definitely a big accomplishment for me.
Thank you all for your answers. Scroll up a little bit. And so our next question is, do you think joining the committee for the position you desire is a good step if you're not ready to be in the position itself? And if so, how and when can you join?
I do think joining the committee is a very good step if you feel like you may not be ready. For the REB position, I know there are also there's also a position on the chapter level for the REB position that you're probably wishing to do or something similar, and I would suggest doing that as well. As far as when you can join the committee, I think like for PCI, I'm open to, you know, working with you whenever you feel like you want to learn more about it. I don't have a certain time frame for it, but I guess it might vary depending on the position that you're interested in. So I'll let other people say their part. And you can just reach out to me if you're interested.
I'll go. I would say for me, I was actually struggled to even start a committee. So I would say definitely if you're interested in just learning more about the positions, is get involved with a committee. So the way you could do that is just reach out to that zone or to that committee chair. So again, if you want to be in the academic excellence zone, you know, you would reach out to Evica for that. If you would want to be in the torch committee, you'll reach out to Nia for that. So I would say the earliest you probably could do that is sometime in the summer, because that's when the new leaders will start planning for FRC. So if you want to start as early as possible, I would say try to get in contact with them over the summer months, like July, maybe August.
I'll go ahead and say something. I thought Tyrone was about to say something, but I would definitely recommend joining a committee simply because you get to be behind the scenes. You get to see what the REB can be struggling with or can have challenges with, and you can also see when firefighting has to happen, or you will be the one firefighting. So joining a committee can definitely be real clutch if you want to get that experience of knowing, okay, this is what it takes on the regional board to really execute things. In terms of when to join one, I know for my AEX committee, mine was really last minute, simply because most of the planning and preparation I could do on my own. But in terms of actually being at conference and executing, I definitely needed the help of a few people. Shout out to Adrian, who's on this panel or is in this chat right now, but definitely needed you guys' help to basically facilitate, because I know one person cannot do it all and just be up there trying to get everything done. So definitely get on the committee if you are interested and don't feel like you're at that level yet, or just want more exposure to what the REB does.
Yeah, just kind of like what's been said before. Joining committee, you can never get too much exposure, too much experience, and you know, honestly, we never run out of needing any help. So, definitely a great way to transition in. Maybe if you're unsure, or maybe if you just, you want to join, but you're, not really sure about the, your workload or your schedule. It's definitely just a great way to stay involved and, kind of get to know us, get to know, other NESB leaders, and just kind of get your name, your face out there, and kind of, realize if this is something that, is truly right for you and can truly fit with, your time.
Can I add something real quick?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, also if you're interested in running for the position, serving on the committee, serving on the committee, like, makes you stand out, because then, like, you're noticed. It just makes you stand out more because you've already expressed your interest in the position, and you've already done work. Like, you've kind of witnessed what that position entails. So it makes you, not that somebody else isn't qualified, but it kind of like ups your qualifications for serving in that role. So yeah.
Okay, so that being our last audience question, I would like to thank all of the panelists for your time and your answers. You all did a great job. And our last panel will be next week with the Communication Zone. It will be at the same time, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. If you all can join us then. Thank you all, the audience, for your questions. We definitely appreciated them. See you all next week. Can't wait for NESB 44.
Love. Appreciate y'all, man.
Everybody have a great night.
Love y'all. Bye.
See y'all.